Transgender runner Nikki Hiltz is headed to the Paris Olympics. And before any of you start with, imagine all the poor girls that she took this opportunity away from. Calm down, Louise. It isn't that deep this time. In a post-race interview with NBC Sports, Hiltz, 29, said, "The race had significance beyond their personal accomplishment. This is bigger than just me. It's the last day of Pride Month. I wanted to run this one for my community," they said. "All the LGBT folks, yeah, you guys brought me home that last 100 meters. I could just feel the love and support." From who? Nobody cares about you, Nikki. Like, if you're still a lesbian, they're very supportive. But as far as the gay men, we don't care what you're doing. We're not even paying attention to the Olympics like that. And I know the one gay man that watches the Olympics is gonna jump down in the comments and be like, "How dare you? I watched the Olympics alone." You watched the Olympics alone. Stop playing with me and acting like all the gays love the Olympics. We don't. We don't care about the Olympics. Except for when it comes to men's diving. Wonder why that might be. Hiltz, who uses they, them pronouns, charged ahead of Elle St. Pierre and Emily McKay in the final stretch of the race, finishing with a time of 3:55:33, a trials record. See, she set a trials record, but it's still not good enough. Gotta be non-binary on top of it just to give it that extra historic push that really doesn't exist. What's up, everybody? Ty Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. Before we actually get started, I'm just gonna ask that you like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to leave me a comment just to help me on the algorithm, but you don't know what to comment, just put a knife, because the non-binary community is definitely gonna come from my neck on this one. Oh, and if you're a regular watcher of this channel, you know that I usually do cake lyrics when I'm covering stories about trans runners. But we've got a fraud in our midst, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're being fraudulent, you get no cake lyrics. I don't care what anybody says. Nobody can make me do cake lyrics for you. It's just what it is. But this is clickbait at its finest, and all of them have it. It's everywhere, but NBC News is where I got this one. And call me crazy, but I would expect just a little better from NBC News. Because if you guys aren't familiar with this person, Nikki Hiltz, all Nikki Hiltz has changed are, wait for it, her pronouns. That's the only thing that Nikki Hiltz has changed about herself. So now she's trans, so of course they're gonna sell it as a trans runner has qualified for the Olympics, because lesbian wins race doesn't make headlines anymore. But you say transgender person qualifies for the Olympics, now that's a headline. That's something we can sell. That's something we can generate some clicks off of. That's something we can get some outrage out of, which outrage will lead to the clicks, because they know that trans women in sports are a really hot deal right now, and if they put that as their headline, everybody's gonna buy in, and the outrage is gonna start, and then the LGBT people are gonna start standing up for this person, because otherwise, if you just said a lesbian won a race, people would be like, good for her. And this person, I don't know if they're a lesbian. So when they won, they were talking about how it was the last day of Pride and this was for their people. And it's like, to tell you the truth, I don't even know if you're one of my people. If you're a lesbian, I'll accept that. But if you're non-binary or queer, like a lot of the people are these days, but they're still living a straight lifestyle, you are not my people. I'm sorry, but there is nothing special about you changing your pronouns. And you don't suddenly become a part of my community, which, if you ask me, really isn't even a community at all. And I really feel like telling straight people at this particular point in time, go back to discriminating. You're right. This was a mistake. When I was growing up and people were saying the gay agenda and gay people are trying to do this and gay people are trying to change that, I was always like, there is no gay agenda. These homos have no direction. Little did I know, middle America was right. Hate to admit it. I'd love to be like, you guys were wrong and you guys didn't realize how wrong you were. And now that I'm older, I can tell you with my whole chest, you guys were right. We were going to try to change everything, and I didn't realize it. Even I wasn't in on that. I don't know if they left that out at the meetings that I attended. There are no meetings. That's a joke. But I don't know where I missed it in the pamphlet when I first came out. There is no pamphlet. That's a joke too. But I don't know where in the fine print, it's not a contract. But I don't know I'm being silly, but at the same time, I really am annoyed with this. I really am tired of people doing all this harebrained shit and then blaming it on the community. Like, I did this for the community. Nobody needed you to do that. Nobody at all needed you to do that in the community. And I miss the days when we weren't even the gay community or the LGBT community or any of that stuff. You know what we were when I was younger? We were called family. That was our code for what we were. Like, you'd be talking about somebody and that person would be gay or lesbian, but we didn't use those terms a lot like that because sometimes we were in mixed company around straight people that weren't always going to get it. And at that time, you really did have a risk of losing your job because you were gay or certain discrimination. That was an actual thing back then. And so it would just be like, oh yeah, he's family. And then it would be like, okay, then that's cool. Then they're gay. So, you know, you could be free around them, or you knew they weren't going to be a problem for you in that way. But now the way it all has changed just makes it so I can't stand behind what it is these people are doing. And I know some of you might be like, but you're the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. And the truth about that was that's just because social media made it so that I couldn't be America's favorite fag anymore. Because that's what I used to go by, as America's favorite fag. I even own the domain for America's favorite fag, and it redirects to my website. But I can't stand behind what has happened to what was called the community. And when you say that your people were driving you, because that's what Nikki Hiltz said, was that her people were driving her, or, you know, her thinking about her people. And it's like, who exactly are your people? That's what I want to know. Because the whole non-binary thing is just a way of being difficult. And now, in this instance, a way of trying to make it seem like you're more groundbreaking than you are. And I'm sure you all know what non-binary is by now. If you don't know what non-binary is, doesn't identify as male or female. Male and female are the binary. They're non-binary. I would argue, though, just pull out the waistband of your little short shorts that you use to run and look down. That'll tell you everything you need to know about where you fit on the binary. And believe me, you do fit somewhere on the binary. And she had a really great time. She's obviously a really great runner. She's Olympic level. And the whole article humors the they, them, and their throughout the entire article. And it's like, I'm tired of that. I'm tired of having to explain that to straight people, because the history of the gay community, or what has turned into the LGBTQ community, was literally as simple as us saying, please don't kill us and let us have jobs and not have to worry about getting fired. That really was where it started from. And so now that it's turned into what it's turned into, and it's these people just trying to be weird for the sake of being weird, and in some cases just being everyday straight people. Like I said, if this person, Nikki Hiltz, dates women, then I'll accept her as part of the community that I'm a part of, but in my mind, she'll still be a lesbian. I am not doing this non-binary, I'm neither. No, you're obviously something. And I think we as a country need to stop humoring this. And I think that if people really want to boycott something, why don't you boycott every one of the media organizations that is actually going with this bullshit? Why don't you boycott every one of the networks and stations that's trying to put this out there like it's really a thing? Like, this isn't just a woman. No offense, ladies. I don't mean just a woman, but you know what I'm saying. She is a regular lady. It has been stated in the rules of the governing body from the Olympics that if you are born female and you have had any kind of hormone treatment, then you cannot participate in Olympic trials or in the Olympics. So that should tell all of us that this woman has done nothing to herself but change her pronouns. And I know the science on this. So I know that when you change your pronouns from she, her to they, them, it really does slow you down. It's like running with a 50-pound vest on. That's what it's like when you change your pronouns. She and her pronouns have always been more aerodynamic and lighter. That is a law of physics, and I think we all agree with that. So yes, this woman was clearly running at a disadvantage when she switched to they, them pronouns. And that's very brave and heroic of her to do that, in spite of the fact that she fully had the option option to stay a she, her, and not have to deal with the extra 50-pound vest that going as a they, them comes with. And I do respect her, and I think that we should build monuments to her. I would put her up there in LGBT history with a Marsha P. Johnson, a Harvey Milk, a Rosie O'Donnell. Okay, Rosie O'Donnell didn't do us any favors. But you guys know what I'm getting at. There's nothing special about this story. I mean, like, I don't care anything about this. She had a great time. She's a great runner. She's a she. That's the end of the story. So, congratulations, ladies. She qualified for the U.S. Olympic team. So, you got a fast one on your hands. But make no mistake about it. This is definitely a woman that won a race and had a really great time. So, let's all leave it at that. Leave your comments down below. I do like to read them, even if maybe I don't agree. Enjoy your 4th of July, everybody. You're free to identify however you want to identify this 4th of July. Maybe you want to be trans for the day. Be trans! Why not? Everybody else is. There's no barrier to entry anymore. There's no longer any gatekeeping. You no longer have to have gender dysphoria. None of it matters. There's no rules. Have at it. Enjoy your 4th, everybody. Happy Independence Day. As always, this has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.
They bought into his bullshit.